Well, I think it has been an issue. First and foremost, we were just talking about how the world has changed. And I personally had never envisioned a time where we would have legal drugs in the state of Colorado, or for that matter, in any part of the country. But here, the reality is that now both Colorado and the state of Washington fall into those categories, and there's a movement across the country in many other states to enact very similar laws as it pertains to marijuana. So what it entails on the police department is to become much more cognizant of this new law, the nuances of the law, how it will impact our enforcement of the law. All of those things are issues that we have to train our officers, and certainly we are already beginning to do that by passing out information to our personnel, what they should be looking for, how they should be doing things, setting up protocols for dealing with marijuana and its common usage. Well, Amendment 64 allows adults 21 years of age and older to possess up to 1 ounce of marijuana and to grow up to 6 marijuana plants. Now, of those 6, only 3 of them can be flowering. Now, this is a technical aspect of the law that, again, I think we're going to have to be all brought up to speed on. But basically, any adult 21 years of age or older can possess up to 1 ounce of marijuana, and/or they can have 6 marijuana plants, but only 3 of those can be mature plants. Well, the law says open and public use of marijuana is still illegal in Colorado. Open and public use. So that means that if somebody is smoking a marijuana cigarette on a public street, that would be open and public use. That would be in violation of the law. Now, things have become murkier here within the last 2 weeks because as I understand it, Denver has passed a new ordinance that allows people to smoke marijuana on their porch at their home. Now, prior to that passage in Denver, it was commonly believed that the law stipulated you could smoke in your house, but not on the porch because that would be public. Driving brings into play a whole different set of issues because the laws dealing with driving under the influence still apply. The only difference is that somebody will be impaired by marijuana rather than alcohol. If the classic, officers will still be looking for the classic symptoms of intoxication, or being impaired, slurred speech, red eyes, inability to even walk a straight line, to do a roadside sobriety test. All of those things still apply. So if somebody is sitting behind the wheel of a car and they are smoking a marijuana cigarette, they will be cited. That's another standard that is evolving. I know I will say it wrongly, but they have in fact set a standard that seems to be a standard that is now going to be recognized across the country. It is a very technical issue as to what that standard is, but it is something that they have been working at, and of course it had to be accelerated once Amendment 64 came into play. But those issues are now being played out in court almost daily. Selling gets us into the area of distribution. Okay. And short of being a retail outlet that, as you said, there's now 2 in Pueblo County that will become operational sometime after January 1. But individuals do not have that luxury. They have personal use, but they cannot become engaged in distributing or selling marijuana. Well, I was one that urged City Council to put the moratorium into effect. At this point, I am still not convinced of how these retail outlets will work and what their impact will be on our community. Once we go back to taking a look at whether we should allow it within the city limits or not, that may very well be in the area from April to June. We might have a little bit more research at that point in time. At this moment, if your question is what would I suggest at this moment, I would still suggest a wait-and-see attitude. There are a lot of fears that I have about what may happen, and I do not want to see this community suddenly put into all sorts of problems without us having an opportunity to look at other communities and seeing what they're doing. I think there's going to be a lot of information that people will be hearing about marijuana and what they can and cannot do. One of the greatest things about this law is that it does put the onus on local jurisdictions. So Denver can decide, as they did, to allow marijuana smoking on a porch. But that's in Denver. I just want to make sure people understand that each jurisdiction will create its own ordinances dealing with how that community wants to deal with the impact of marijuana. Right now, Pueblo, again, you cannot smoke on your porch. It has to be something that's consumed inside your residence, out of public view. Any public view would make it illegal under the law as it stands at this moment. I do expect that these laws will change based on case law throughout 2014, and that's to be expected. It's a whole new area for us, as it is for the community, and the courts for that matter, and the respective city councils, county commissioners, state legislature. They're going to react to case law and make changes as necessary, and then we will have a new set of guidelines, and we'll work within those guidelines.